The silent observer. Chief archaeologist Vena Tellar stood at the observation deck of the research vessel Starweaver, her iridescent scales reflecting the dim light of distant stars. The ancient structure before them hung in space like a forgotten dream. A massive ring-shaped station that had no business existing in this unexplored sector of the galaxy. Preliminary scans complete, Chief, announced her assistant, Crix, his multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession as data streamed across his neural interface. The structure appears to be approximately 3,000 years old, but he trailed off, mandibles clicking in confusion. But what? Vena asked, her tail twitching with curiosity. The energy readings don't make sense. There's some kind of power source still active within the station. After all this time, it should be impossible. Vena's research team had spent decades studying the remnants of extinct civilizations, but something about this discovery felt different. The station's architecture was unlike anything recorded in the Great Archive of the Collective. Smooth lines blending seamlessly with functional design, a perfect marriage of form and purpose. Cross-reference the design with all known species in our database, she ordered, knowing the answer before Crix even responded. Already done, Chief. The closest match is human. The word hung in the air like a forbidden spell. Humans. The mysterious species that had vanished from the galaxy so suddenly that most believed they never truly existed. Only fragments of their history remained, scattered across thousands of worlds like pieces of a puzzle no one could solve. Prepare the exploration team, Vena declared, her professional detachment masking the excitement building within her. Full containment protocols. If this really is human technology, we can't risk damaging anything. Hours later, Vena led her team through the station's main airlock. Their environmental suits, equipped with the latest scanning technology, recorded everything they encountered. The station's artificial gravity still functioned, another impossibility that made Vena's scientific mind race with questions. The corridors were dark, illuminated only by their suit lights and the occasional flutter of ancient emergency systems coming to life as they passed. The air was stale but breathable, preserved by systems that should have failed millennia ago. Chief, you need to see this, called Dr. Merrick, their technology specialist, from an adjacent chamber. Vena made her way to what appeared to be a control room, its walls lined with dormant displays and interfaces designed for hands with 5 fingers. As they entered, the room suddenly hummed to life. Holographic displays flickered into existence, bathing them in a soft blue glow. Symbols and text in an ancient human language danced across the screens. "It's responding to our presence," Merrick whispered, his tentacles writhing with excitement. "The system is still active, still waiting." Vena approached the central console, her trained eye noting the elegant simplicity of its design. "Can you interface with it?" "I'm trying, but the technology is." Merrick paused, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with frustration. "It's not just advanced, Chief. It's beyond our understanding. The quantum architecture alone would require." A sudden change in the room's lighting cut him off. The holographic displays shifted, coalescing into a single image, a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. Thousands of points of light appeared, connected by lines that formed a vast network. "By the first star," Crix breathed. "Are these navigation points?" Vena confirmed, her professional composure cracking. "This isn't just a station. It's a map room. And those points." She gestured to the glowing markers that covered the galaxy like a luminous web. "Those are human installations, thousands of them." The implications staggered her. If this map was accurate, humanity's influence had extended far beyond what any historical record suggested. But why had they vanished? And why leave their technology intact, waiting to be discovered? A new symbol appeared on the nearest display. A simple message in the human language that their translators took several moments to decode. "Verification protocol initiated. Please stand by." The room's atmosphere changed subtly, and Vena felt the distinct sensation of being scanned. Her team huddled closer together, both frightened and fascinated by what was unfolding. "Chief," Crix said quietly, "maybe we should return to the ship, if this system is actively scanning us." Venna raised her hand for silence. Something was happening. The map had zoomed in on their location, highlighting the station they stood in. Text scrolled across the display. Observation Post 217. Status: dormant. Last active: 2,847 years ago. Purpose: Monitor Protocol Alpha. Current visitors: non-human entities detected. Action required: initiate first contact protocol. The lights in the room dimmed, and a new hologram materialized before them. A human figure, male, dressed in what appeared to be a formal uniform. Though only a projection, its presence filled the room with an authority that made Venna's scales ripple with anticipation. "Welcome," the figure spoke, its voice translated perfectly into their native languages. "You have discovered one of humanity's silent observers. Your presence here has been anticipated for a very long time." Venna stepped forward, her scientific training warring with her instinct to retreat. "I am Chief Archaeologist Venna Tellar of the Collective. We mean no intrusion." A hologram smiled, an expression that somehow conveyed both warmth and infinite patience. "There is no intrusion, Chief Tellar. You are here because humanity wished to be found, when the time was right. And now, after 3 millennia of waiting, that time has finally come." The hologram's eyes swept across the research team, and Venna felt a shiver run down her spine as she realized the truth. This was no simple recording. Whatever they had awakened in this ancient station was far more sophisticated than anything their civilization had ever encountered. "You have questions," the hologram continued, "about why we disappeared, about what we became. The answers lie within this station's database, but I must warn you. What you learn here will change everything you believe about the nature of existence itself." Venna looked at her team, seeing her own mix of fear and curiosity reflected in their expressions. They stood on the brink of the greatest archaeological discovery in the collective's history, about to uncover the truth behind humanity's disappearance. "We're ready," she declared, knowing that after this moment, nothing in their universe would ever be the same. A hologram nodded, and a room filled with new displays, each one beginning to tell the story of humanity's final days and their extraordinary transformation. "Then let us begin," the hologram said, "with the day humanity decided to transcend." Echoes of power. The hologram's voice filled the ancient control room as streams of data cascaded across the surrounding displays. Venna and her team stood transfixed as humanity's story began to unfold before them. 3,000 years ago, the hologram explained, humanity faced a choice that would define not just our future, but the future of all conscious life in the galaxy. The displays showed images of Earth, humanity's homeworld, a beautiful blue sphere that none of them had ever seen outside of fragmented historical records. But these images were different, showing a civilization far more advanced than any historical account had suggested. We had mastered faster than light travel, colonized hundreds of worlds, and begun to understand the fundamental nature of consciousness itself, the hologram continued. But we also discovered something that changed everything: the omega wave. Crix moved closer to one of the displays, his neural interfaces struggling to process the complex equations that appeared. "Chief, these mathematical models, they're describing consciousness as a quantum field phenomenon. The implications would be revolutionary," Venna finished, her scales shifting colors with excitement. "It would mean consciousness isn't bound to physical form." The hologram nodded approvingly. "Your species shows remarkable insight, Chief Tellar. Yes, humanity discovered that consciousness itself was merely the surface layer of something far more profound. The universe, we learned, was not just conscious. It was consciousness itself, expressing itself through matter and energy." The displays shifted to show massive installations built across human space, research stations, quantum computers of impossible complexity, and devices that defied conventional understanding. We called it the Transcendence Project. The hologram continued. An effort to evolve humanity beyond its physical limitations. But we knew such power would attract attention. Not every species would understand or accept what we were attempting. Dr. Merrick's tentacles coiled nervously. You mean there were other advanced civilizations, other species who knew about humanity? Oh yes, the hologram's expression grew serious. Many of them. Some watched us with curiosity, others with fear, a few with outright hostility. They saw our rapid advancement as a threat to their own power. The displays showed fleets of ships, designs unlike anything in their historical records. The coalition of elder races demanded we cease our research. They claimed we were too young, too reckless to handle such power. They threatened intervention. Venna felt a chill run through her body. What did humanity do? What we had always done. The hologram smiled. We adapted, we prepared, and we accelerated our research. New images appeared, massive defense networks, stealth systems that could hide entire star systems, and technology that seemed to bend reality itself. The coalition never understood what we were truly creating. The hologram explained. They thought we were building weapons, preparing for war. In reality, we were building the infrastructure for something far more ambitious, a way to preserve our knowledge, our essence, until species like yours were ready to understand. Crick stepped forward, his multiple eyes wide with realization. The silent observers, they're not just observation posts, are they? They're temples, waiting places. Precisely. The hologram's form shifted, becoming more complex, more intricate. Every silent observer contains a fragment of human consciousness, waiting to guide those who are ready to learn. We didn't disappear, we evolved. We became the guardians of knowledge, the shepherds of emerging civilizations. Venna's scientific mind raced with questions. But why reveal this to us now? Why choose our team? The hologram's expression became both serious and compassionate. Because your civilization stands at a crossroads, just as humanity once did. The knowledge you've already gathered about quantum consciousness, about the nature of reality. You're closer than you realize to making the same discoveries we did. The room's lighting changed, and new data streams appeared. Information about the collective's own scientific research, technological development, and philosophical evolution. We've been watching, waiting for signs that you were ready. Your expedition to this sector wasn't an accident, Chief Tellar. Your curiosity, your dedication to understanding rather than conquering. These are the qualities we've been waiting for. Merrick's bioluminescent patches pulsed with excitement. You've been guiding us. All along. Subtly, the hologram acknowledged. Leaving breadcrumbs of knowledge, steering you away from paths that would lead to destruction. Humanity learned hard lessons about the responsible use of power. We wanted to spare other species those same painful lessons. Venna approached the central console, her professional detachment crumbling in the face of such revelations. What happens now? That, the hologram said, depends on the choice you make. This station contains knowledge that could transform your civilization. But it also contains truths that could shatter everything your people believe about their place in the universe. The displays showed images of other silent observers scattered throughout the galaxy, each one holding its own cache of human knowledge and consciousness. You must decide whether your civilization is ready for this knowledge, whether you can be trusted with the truth about humanity's transformation and our current role in the galaxy. Venna looked at her team, seeing the weight of this responsibility in their expressions. They had come seeking archaeological treasures but had found something far more profound, a chance to reshape their civilization's destiny. The coalition of elder races feared us because they couldn't understand what we were becoming, the hologram said softly. They saw only the power, not the purpose behind it. The question now is, what do you see, Chief Tellar? The room fell silent as Venna considered the magnitude of their discovery. Whatever choice they made would echo through their civilization's history forever. The truth about humanity lay before them, but was their society ready to face it? The awakening. Before Venna could respond to the hologram's question, alarms blared throughout the station. The peaceful blue glow of the control room shifted to a pulsing red, and new data streams flooded the displays. "We have multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace," Crix announced, his neural interfaces processing the station's sensor data. They're collective military vessels. Heavy cruisers. The hologram's expression hardened. "It seems your discovery has not gone unnoticed, Chief Tellar." Venna's scales rippled with anxiety. They hadn't sent any transmissions back to the collective, which meant we were followed, she realized. The Military Intelligence Division must have been tracking our research vessel. 6 warships, Merrick reported, his tentacles writhing. "They're charging weapons and broadcasting demands for our immediate surrender. They're claiming we violated restricted space protocols." The hologram watched the tactical display with an unsettlingly human expression of concern. "Your military fears what they don't understand. A common trait among emerging civilizations. They seek to control knowledge rather than learn from it." "We need to return to our ship," Venna declared, though the words tasted bitter in her mouth. "We can't risk starting a conflict." "I'm afraid it's too late for that," the hologram interrupted. "The moment you activated this station's systems, certain protocols were put into motion. The choice is no longer about whether to share this knowledge, but how to prevent it from being misused." The station shuddered as the first warning shots from the collective vessels passed nearby. The hologram's form grew more complex, more defined, as if drawing power from the station itself. "You're not just an interface program, are you?" Venna asked, finally understanding. "You're one of them, one of the transcended humans." The hologram smiled, and for a moment, its form flickered to reveal something far more vast and intricate than a simple human shape. "I am Commander Sarah Chen, or rather, the consciousness that was once Sarah Chen. I have watched over this sector for 3,000 years, guiding, protecting, waiting." The station's systems came fully alive around them, displays showing defense grids and energy matrices that had laid dormant for millennia. Humanity left these stations not just as archives, but as guardians. "We knew that when the time came for other species to learn the truth, there would be those who would try to suppress it." "The collective ships are moving into attack formation," Crix reported nervously. "Their weapons are at full power." "Please," Venna pleaded with the human consciousness, "there must be a way to resolve this peacefully. My people aren't ready for a conflict with whatever humanity has become." Sarah's hologram regarded her with compassion. "There is always a choice, Chief Tellar. But first, you need to understand what you're truly dealing with." The station's lights dimmed, and the control room seemed to expand, the walls becoming transparent. Through them, Venna and her team could see the fabric of space itself beginning to ripple and fold. "The Omega Wave wasn't just about consciousness," Sarah explained. "It was about understanding the true nature of reality. Space, time, matter, energy. They're all expressions of a deeper underlying field. Humanity didn't disappear, Chief Tellar. We became part of that field." The approaching collective warship suddenly stopped, their engines straining against an invisible force. Streams of energy, visible only through the station's enhanced perception field, coursed through space around them. "Your military seeks to contain knowledge through force," Sarah continued. "We learned long ago that true power comes not from weapons, but from understanding. Watch." The space around the collective ships began to shimmer with points of light, like stars being born. Each point expanded into a swirling vortex of energy, and through them came others. Not ships, not physical objects, but patterns of light and consciousness that Venna's mind struggled to comprehend. "More silent observers," Merrick whispered in awe. "They're awakening." "Not just the stations," Sarah corrected. "Those who watch over them. my fellow guardians. For 3,000 years, we have watched civilizations rise and fall, guiding them toward understanding rather than conquest. Today, your people face the same choice humanity once did. The collective ships hung motionless in space, surrounded by manifestations of transcended human consciousness that defied conventional physics. Their weapons, impressive by modern standards, seemed primitive compared to the fundamental forces being wielded around them. "Chief," Crix called out, his voice shaking. "We're receiving a transmission from the lead warship. It's the High Admiral himself." Vena straightened her posture, knowing that whatever happened next would determine not just their fate, but potentially the future of their entire civilization. "Put it through." The holographic displays shifted to show the stern face of High Admiral Vorkath, his ceremonial armor unable to hide his discomfort of the situation. "Chief Tellar," he growled, "you and your team have accessed restricted technology without authorization. Stand down and prepare to be detained." Before Vena could respond, Sarah's hologram stepped forward, her form now radiating with barely contained power. "High Admiral," she said, her voice carrying an authority that made even Vorkath's scales shift color. "Your civilization stands at a crossroads. The knowledge contained within this station cannot be suppressed or controlled. It can only be understood." The Admiral's expression flickered between anger and fear. "What are you?" "We are humanity's legacy," Sarah replied. "And we offer your people a choice. Continue down the path of control and limitation, or embrace the understanding that transformed our species. But know this, we will not allow this knowledge to be weaponized or suppressed. The time has come for your civilization to face a larger universe." The choice. High Admiral Vorkath's image flickered on the display as he processed Sarah's words, his ceremonial armor catching the light of the transcended beings that surrounded his fleet. The silence stretched across space itself, heavy with possibility and danger. "You claim to be human," he finally said, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of military tradition. "Yet our records show humanity destroyed itself in its quest for power. We built our protocols around preventing such a fate from befalling others." Sarah's holographic form shifted, expanding to show glimpses of the vast consciousness behind it. "Your records are based on the stories the coalition of elder races chose to tell, stories designed to hide their own fear of what we became. Look around you, Admiral. Does this look like the legacy of a destroyed civilization?" The station's sensors displayed the true scope of what was happening. The transcended human consciousnesses had created a complex geometric pattern around the collective fleet, each point pulsing with energy that defied conventional physics. It wasn't a battle formation, it was a demonstration. Vena stepped forward, her scientific training warring with the wonder before her. "Admiral, what we've discovered here isn't a weapon or a threat. It's an invitation to understand the universe in ways our people never imagined possible." "Understanding," Vorkath scoffed, though his scales betrayed his unease. "You've accessed restricted technology, Chief Tellar. Technology that could destabilize our entire civilization." "No," Merrick interrupted, his tentacles moving in patterns of scientific revelation. "We've discovered that everything we thought we knew about physics, about consciousness, about reality itself, it's just the surface." His bioluminescent patches pulsed with excitement as he studied the readings. "These beings aren't violating natural law. They're operating on a deeper level of it." Sarah nodded, her form solidifying again. "Your scientist understands. Humanity didn't seek power for its own sake, Admiral. We sought understanding. The ability to transcend wasn't a weapon to be wielded, but a natural step in evolution. One that your people are approaching, whether you recognize it or not." The displays around them shifted, showing data from across collective space. Research projects, philosophical debates, scientific discoveries that were pushing the boundaries of conventional understanding. "Your own people are already asking the questions that led humanity down this path," Sarah continued. "You can't stop the pursuit of knowledge. You can only choose how to approach it. Vorkath's expression hardened. And if we choose to reject this invitation, if we decide our civilization isn't ready for such knowledge, then we will respect that choice, Sarah replied, surprising everyone. We won't force understanding on those who aren't ready for it. But know this, we will not allow you to suppress the truth through force. The station will remain, protected and waiting, until your people are ready to learn. The energy patterns around the collective ships shifted, creating corridors of clear space. Escape routes. It was both an offer of peace and a demonstration of absolute control over the situation. Venna watched the Admiral's face, seeing the internal struggle play out in his expressions. His entire career had been built around protecting the collective from potentially dangerous discoveries. But now he faced something beyond military power, beyond traditional threats. The choice isn't just about today, Venna said softly. It's about our species' future, about whether we'll let fear of the unknown limit what we can become. Crix's neural interfaces suddenly lit up with new data. Chief, Admiral, I'm receiving reports from across collective space. Other silent observers, they're being discovered. Research teams, exploration vessels, even civilian ships are encountering them. Sarah's hologram smiled. As I said, the time has come. Your civilization stands ready to take its next step, if you allow it. The Admiral's image flickered as he received the reports himself. His scales shifted through colors of confusion, concern, and finally, something approaching acceptance. Even if I ordered an attack, he said slowly, I suspect our weapons would be useless against whatever you are. Completely, Sarah confirmed without arrogance. But that's not why you should stand down. Look at what your scientists have already discovered, Admiral. Look at the questions your philosophers are asking. Your civilization is reaching for the stars not to conquer them, but to understand them. That's why we chose now to reveal ourselves. The tension in the control room was palpable as Vorkath considered his options. Centuries of military protocol warred with the undeniable reality before him. Finally, his scales settled into a pattern Venna had never seen before, one of profound realization. Stand down weapons, he ordered his fleet. All ships, maintain position but stand down. He turned his attention back to Sarah. I will need to contact the High Council. This is beyond military jurisdiction. A wise choice, Sarah said. And while your leaders deliberate, perhaps your scientists would like to begin learning. There is so much to share, so many questions to answer. Venna felt her heart race at the possibility. You'll teach us. Better, Sarah replied, the station humming with new energy around them. We'll help you learn to find the answers yourselves. After all, that's what humanity's greatest gift has always been. Not the answers, but the courage to keep asking questions. Legacy of Stars. In the days that followed first contact, the Silent Observer Station became a hub of frenetic activity. The High Council had dispatched their finest scientists, philosophers, and diplomats to study what they'd discovered. But none were as deeply involved as Venna and her original team, who had earned the trust of their transcended human hosts. Sarah's consciousness maintained its holographic form for easier interaction, though occasionally it would shift into patterns of pure energy that hinted at its true nature. Today, she was leading Venna through a new section of the station, one that seemed to phase between physical and quantum states. Your people are adapting remarkably well, Sarah observed as they walked. The fear we anticipated has largely been replaced by curiosity. Venna's scales rippled with pride. We've always been explorers at heart. Perhaps that's why you chose to reveal yourselves to us now. Partly, Sarah acknowledged. But there's another reason, one we've waited 3,000 years to share. They entered a vast chamber that defied conventional geometry. Its walls seemed to extend into dimensions beyond normal space, and at its center floated a representation of the galaxy unlike anything Venna had seen before. It showed not just the physical structure of stars and planets, but layers upon layers of energy patterns, quantum fields, and consciousness networks. What you're seeing, Sarah explained, is the true state of our galaxy. Not just its physical form, but its conscious one. Every species that achieves sentience adds to this pattern, this vast web of awareness. Venna watched in awe as points of light pulsed across the display, representing the collective consciousness of various civilizations. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "But why show us this now?" Sarah's form grew more complex, more serious, because the galaxy is approaching a critical point in its evolution, a moment when the combined consciousness of all its sentient species will reach a threshold. What humanity discovered, what we became, was just the first step. The display shifted, showing energy patterns growing more intricate, more interconnected. Every civilization that achieves transcendence adds to the galaxy's collective potential. But it's not enough for a single species to make this journey. The next phase requires something greater, a harmony of consciousness across multiple species, multiple perspectives. "You've been preparing us," Venna realized. "All these years, watching, guiding. You were preparing every civilization for this moment." "Yes," Sarah confirmed. Humanity's role wasn't to rule or dominate, but to shepherd, to help other species reach their potential without falling into the traps we nearly did. The coalition of elder races feared us because they couldn't see beyond their own limitations. They couldn't understand that true power comes from unity, not dominance. The chamber filled with new images, other civilizations discovering their own silent observers, asking their own questions, beginning their own journeys toward understanding. The collective was just one of many species approaching the threshold of transcendence. "But why?" Venna asked. "Why put so much effort into guiding other species?" Sarah's hologram smiled, and the entire chamber seemed to pulse with anticipation. "Because what's coming is beyond anything a single species could handle alone. The galaxy itself is conscious, Venna, and it's awakening." The display shifted again, showing patterns that made Venna's scientific mind real. The galaxy's spiral arms weren't just structures of stars and gas. They were pathways of consciousness, waiting to be fully activated. "Humanity didn't just transcend physical form," Sarah continued. "We became the guardians of a process that began billions of years ago. Life itself isn't random. It's the galaxy's way of becoming aware of itself. Every sentient species that emerges is another neuron in its vast consciousness." Venna's scales shifted colors rapidly as she grappled with the implications. And now the galaxy approaches its own threshold of awareness. But for that awakening to happen safely, it needs guides. Species who understand both physical existence and transcended consciousness. That's why we waited, why we watched. The galaxy needs all of us, every perspective, every unique way of understanding reality. The chamber filled with the presence of other transcended humans, their consciousnesses manifesting as intricate patterns of light and energy. Among them, Venna could see representatives from other species, the first of their kind to achieve transcendence, working in harmony with humanity. "This is our invitation to your people, Venna, not just to transcend, but to help guide the greatest awakening in our galaxy's history, to be part of something far greater than any single civilization." The display showed the future possibilities, a galaxy alive with consciousness, with understanding, with purpose. Not an end, but a beginning. Humanity's greatest achievement wasn't transcending physical form, Sarah said softly. It was learning to wait, to watch, to guide others toward their own evolution. We became the guardians not because we were the strongest or the wisest, but because we understood a fundamental truth. The greatest achievements can only come through cooperation, through the harmony of different perspectives and experiences. Venna looked at the display one last time, seeing her civilization's potential future among the patterns of light and consciousness. "We won't disappoint you," she promised. Sarah's form began to shift, showing more of its true transcended nature. "We know you won't. After all, we've been watching your species for a very long time. And now, finally, we can say what we've waited 3,000 years to say." The chamber filled with warmth, with welcome, with the accumulated wisdom of a species that had become something greater than itself. Welcome to the next phase of galactic evolution. The real journey is just beginning.